Hi, welcome to Stellar Yoga. I'm Estelle. Thank you so much for coming to your mat to practice with me today. Today, we are going to explore a little bit what it means to find solid ground beneath our feet and stability, which is something that is, I think, very welcome at this moment in time where there are a lot of things changing in the world and a lot of us rush from one thing to another, from one stressor to another. So today's class, we will be exploring tuning into the body, really listening to what it needs today, where it finds stability, and building movement around what works for your body exactly as it is today. For this practice, I will encourage you to have a chair. We'll use the chair to start out, and we'll also use it to support our movement throughout the class. And I will encourage you to have a similar setup to me where you have the mat up against a wall. You can also use a closed door or any place where you have a flat surface behind you. And I will also encourage you for the very end of class to have either a bolster or some pillows that we will use for a supported position. So go ahead and take a moment to get your setup. Make sure that your chair is firmly seated with all four legs on the mat so that it doesn't slip. When you have your props ready and set up, and you're set up next to the wall behind you, go ahead and find a comfortable seat with your feet flat on the floor, sitting on your sit bones, and just, if you feel comfortable, close down your eyes, rest your hands on your lap in any way that's comfortable. And try to bring your attention to the present moment. There are a few ways that we can anchor ourselves to be present right here, right now. One of them is the breath, bringing your attention to the length and quality of your breath. And just noticing your inhales and your exhales. Another tool to anchor us to the present moment is our sensation of touch. You might notice where your body is meeting the earth, where it's being supported, where your sit bones are in contact with the chair, where your hands are in contact with your body. And using those sensations to anchor us in the moment. You might also want to use sound as an anchor. So taking a moment to notice what you hear around you. Are there voices, the sounds of birds, maybe the sound of a pet in the corner, maybe the sound of a clock ticking nearby. And using the sounds around you to anchor you right here, right now, in the present moment. Whichever of these feels right for you today, I invite you to bring your attention to your breath or to your sensation of touch or to what you're hearing around you. to help you stay present throughout the class, right here in this moment. When you feel ready to start to find some movement, go ahead and just start wiggling your toes a little bit, gently opening your eyes if you want to. And we'll begin to warm up our body and find some movement. So when you feel ready, inhale your arms up over your head. Just bring your right hand to your lap or to the chair seat behind you, and lengthen your left arm, finding some space between the left hip, grounding down into the chair, and the right hand reaching up and over, the left hand reaching up and over towards the right, finding some space on that left side. And notice how this feels and if you notice any areas in particular. When you're ready, come back up through center, raising both arms overhead. And when you're ready, drop your left hand to the chair behind you or your lap. Reach your right hand over to the left. Noticing the sensations of your right hip grounding into the chair and your right fingers reaching over your body, finding space in the right side. And when you're ready, bring both arms up overhead. Reach up, look up maybe. And on an exhale, twist to the right, bringing your right hand out behind you to the top of the chair or to the seat of the chair behind you. And just finding a gentle twist to the right, letting your left hand come to wherever feels comfortable to rest it. Waking up your spine a bit here. Just notice what it feels like today on this side. When you're ready, reach your arms up overhead, back at center. And exhale, coming off to the left, bringing the left hand out beside you or behind you for support. Letting your right hand rest anywhere on your lap that feels comfortable. And notice if anything comes to your attention on this side. And just make a note of it if it does. When you're ready, come back up, reach both arms up overhead, lift your heart, and bring both hands to your lap. Let them rest on your knees or your thighs in a comfortable position. With your feet flat on the floor, feeling the earth beneath you. We'll start to take some seated cat-cows from this position on your own breath in your own time. So on your inhales, lifting the heart towards the sky. On the exhale, rounding your upper back, curling in, using your hands to support you as needed. And just take a few rounds on your own breath. Noticing what feels good in your body today. Noticing if it feels good to move more quickly or more slowly. If there are areas of your body that are asking for a little bit extra attention. And take one more round on your breath. And we'll meet back in center. Bring your left leg out to the side. You might need to scoot a little bit forward in your chair here. And you might want to bring your left foot out so that it finds a 90-degree angle with the floor. So extend your right leg. You can have it, the toes facing forward, you can have them facing to the side or anywhere in between that feels right in terms of rotation for that hip. Reach your arms up and let your right hand just slide down that left leg, finding a stretch. And then reach your left hand behind you, bring your right hand through center, and just look up. And we'll just flow through that on your own breath, finding a pattern of inhales and exhales that feel good. And alternating between lifting your arm up and reaching to the side. And take one more in each position to the side. And then reaching up through center. And when you're ready, come back through neutral position. Bring your right leg to meet your left in a supportive angle. And then stretch your left leg out to the side. Notice if you need to adjust your hips at all on the chair. And notice if your left toes want to point forward or out to the side or somewhere in between today. And when you're ready, reach your arms up overhead and let your left hand slide down the left leg and your right hand fall overhead. And on your next breath, bring the right hand behind you for support and lift your left hand up. And then just take a couple rounds of that on your own breath. Inhaling at one movement and exhaling at the other in a way that feels natural to your body. And take one more round each side. And come back through center. From here, we're going to stand up and move the chair to the very front of your mat, as far as it goes while still keeping all four legs on the mat. And then come stand in the center of your mat. And we're going to explore Tadasana, mountain pose, for a few minutes. So the traditional way of teaching Tadasana is either with your feet, the edges of your feet parallel to each other, big toes touching, a little bit of space between your heels. So go ahead and take that formulation of this pose and notice how that feels in your body. Tadasana means mountain. When I think of a mountain, I think of a stable base, especially for yoga, maybe a home base for poses, rooted into the earth. So your Tadasana, you want to feel stability and rootedness, as though if someone came up and bumped you, or you were on public transportation, maybe on the subway or a bus, and it jostled, that you wouldn't get thrown off. For many people, this position of Tadasana is really narrow. So I invite you to explore some different variations of Tadasana and find what feels comfortable and what feels stable for you. So if you take a look down at your knees, imagine you had a laser pointer coming out from your kneecaps. If you notice on my knees, what that would do is end up about here, crossing the lasers. So I encourage you to, on your own body, find a place where your lasers would be parallel. So for me, that's just a little bit degree of turnout on each side, maybe a little bit more on the left side. So you might want to play with this in a mirror at another point. But take a look at your kneecaps and where your lasers are pointing, and try to find a place where they're pointing parallel, straight ahead. And notice where your feet are angled in this position. And then go ahead and explore keeping that angle, bringing your feet all the way out to hip distance apart or a little further. And notice how that feels. Maybe moving your weight forward and back a little bit, or side to side, and then coming to a neutral place. And then go ahead and find what feels to you like a neutral, stable, strong base, as though the weight from the center of your hips, if you dropped a plumb line, if you took a weight on a fishing line anchored at your hips, at your hip joints, where would that line fall? And finding your feet under that line. You can do this without looking at your feet, or you can look down and notice where that is. So just note how this feels. And then come back into traditional Tadasana. So that's either your toes and heels together, or toes together, edges of the feet parallel to each other, space between your heels. Notice how this feels. And then move back into that other Tadasana where your lasers are facing forward and your feet feel like they're underneath your hip joints. Notice here how you would feel if you were on public transportation and you got jostled. Could you respond and support yourself? Come back into traditional Tadasana with the feet together. And again, notice how you would feel if you were jostled in this position. Notice how your lower back is feeling in this position, and how your shoulders are stacking over your hips in this position. And then come back into your Tadasana, however similar or far that is from traditional. And notice how you feel here, how your lower back feels and your shoulders feel stacked in this position. So we're going to build our practice today around this Tadasana. And this Tadasana may change from day to day. The important practice of yoga is to get in touch with your body, find how you can connect with it today, find your support. and not try to fit into a specific alignment or a specific picture in your mind of what that looks like, but to explore your own body and your own experience in this moment, right here, right now, using your breath, using the feeling of your feet on the earth, using the sounds around you to anchor yourself in this present moment and to make the choices that work for your body today. It may be different from tomorrow, it may be different from yesterday, but just finding where you are today in this present moment right here, right now. So in this version of your Tadasana today, we'll just take a few stretches, lifting your arms up overhead and coming off to the right, finding length there, coming up through center and coming off to the left, coming through center, and just take a bit of a flow from each side to the other. Notice how you feel in this position. Notice the stability of your feet. Notice if you need to make some adjustments to feel stable in this position. You can come back up through center and cactus your arms, reaching your heart up to the sky. And when you're ready, just let your hands fall. Take this Tadasana to the top of your mat with your chair nice in front of you. Find that stability. Find your Tadasana today. Make any adjustments you need to feel rooted into the earth and stable. And then when you're ready, step your left leg back, keeping the same distance that you have in that Tadasana. Step your left leg straight back from that position, keeping that same rotation. And just step into a warrior one. And notice what your front knee is doing over your front ankle. Notice how your hips are feeling and where they're facing. Notice the stability in that back left leg. And then from here, step into what is considered a traditional warrior one. So the left leg angled out behind you, the right foot intersecting the arch of the left leg, pointing straight forward. And notice what happens in your hips when you take that kind of warrior one. What happens in your lower back? What happens in your knees? What's happening with your front knee over your front ankle? Where does your lower back want to go? Notice how stable you feel. And then go ahead and step back into your alignment of warrior one. And again, notice how your lower back feels, where your front knee is, and the stability in this position. This is a warrior pose, so again, it's strong, it's stable. From here, you can bring your hands up overhead, lift your heart a bit, and then fold forward, bringing your hands to the chair for support, and straighten that front knee. As much as feels good to you. Doesn't need to be 100% straight. Just bring it towards straight. And you can play around with bending it and straightening it and finding where exactly in your body, to what extent you want to straighten it on this side today. Using the chair to support your hands. When you're ready, bend into your right leg. Lift your torso back up. And step forward into your Tadasana. And we'll take that on the other side. Keeping your feet in the same orientation, but just stepping that right leg back and finding warrior one. Your left leg bent, you may need to adjust the width and the distance. And notice what you feel happening in your hips and your lower back. Notice this kickstand-like support coming from your back leg. Notice where your front knee is in orientation to your front foot and your front ankle. And then from here, come into traditional warrior one, bringing the front foot so that it intersects the arch of the back foot. The back foot turned out at a 45-degree angle. And notice what happens to your hips and your sacroiliac joint here, where your spine meets your pelvis. Notice what's happening with your front knee over your front ankle. Notice how warrior-like you feel right here. Do you feel stable? And then move back into your version of warrior one. And notice your lower back, your hips, the stability and support in this position. When you're ready, lift your heart up. Take maybe a mini back bend here. And fold forward using your hands for support over your front leg. And then bringing that left leg towards straight. Again, playing around with how it feels in this leg today. Where your body needs to move. Where it's telling you is too far to move. Where it's telling you it feels good to move. When you're ready, bend into that left knee and step back up into your Tadasana. And one more time here, come back into that traditional version of Tadasana, toes together, edges of feet parallel, heels apart. Again, notice your stability in this posture. And then come into your Tadasana. And notice the stability in this posture. From here, with your left leg, step back into crescent lunge onto the flexed toes of your left foot. And again, you can practice seeing where exactly that distance would be if you keep that same alignment in your feet. If you want, you can raise your arms overhead. And then we'll open out to a warrior two from here. So just bringing that left foot down to the earth, opening your chest to the side. You may want to wiggle a bit to get the right distance. Adjust where your feet should be in your version of warrior two. And then we'll come into a traditional version of warrior two. So the back foot angled at a 45-degree angle, the front leg, the front foot intersecting the arch of that back foot, chest to the side, head over, overlooking the right fingers. And notice how this feels in your hips, in your low back. Do you feel if you were jostled, if you were being a warrior right now, could you support yourself? How stable do you feel? And then step into your warrior. And notice your low back, your hips, your connection with the earth, the sounds around you, your breath. Whatever you chose to anchor you to this moment, notice how this feels. And then inhale, lift your right arm up. And then exhale, bring your right hand to the chair and find a side angle here, lifting your left arm so that it draws a line with your left leg. And notice how side angle feels today in this orientation of your side angle with your alignment. You can play with having your arms straight up or overhead, reaching forward. And then on an inhale, rise up into a star shape and step your star a little bit back so that you can feel your bum touch the wall behind you. Your shoulders, maybe your head. Feel the support of the wall behind you. And then from here, we're going to come into half moon rising. So turn that right foot out to wherever your degree of angle is. Bring the weight into that right foot. Bring your hand to the chair, keeping your butt up against the wall and your shoulder up against the wall, your back. And slowly lift that left leg to any degree that feels good to you. And notice what it feels like to be here in this half moon, opening your body to the side and finding support. Feeling that level of support behind you from the wall to whatever degree you decide to take your half moon today. Feeling the support of the earth under your right leg, under your right foot. And feeling the wall behind you supporting you. And when you're ready, step the left foot down, coming through warrior two, and then step back into your Tadasana. For the other side, we'll just spin the chair around to the back of your mat, making sure the feet are all on your mat. Coming into your Tadasana here. And then with the right leg, keeping the same orientation of your feet and your legs, stepping back into crescent lunge. And when you're ready, opening up into warrior two, your warrior two. Make any adjustments that you need to feel strong and stable in this position. And then we'll come into a traditional warrior two. So bring your left foot so that it intersects the back of your right foot, the arch of your right foot, and bring your right foot to a 45-degree angle. Open your chest to the side and look out over your left fingers. Notice what's happening in your lower back, what's happening in your hips, how supported your legs feel, your knee over your front leg, over your front ankle. If you could be stable in this position if you were jostled. And then step into your version of warrior two. And again, notice how your lower back feels, how your hips feel, where your front knee is over your front ankle, the stability you feel if you were jostled, the strength and support you find grounding into the earth and feeling the earth reaching up and supporting you back. You're ready, reach your left arm up. Bring your left hand to the chair and your right arm up overhead into side angle. Bringing your right hand into line with your left leg or up, straight up towards the sky. Noticing if there's a difference when you do that. And when you're ready, stand up into a star position and move your star back against the wall. And then standing on your left leg, bringing the weight into your left leg with your bum and your back against the wall. Bring your left hand to the chair and let your right leg start to float up. Feel the wall behind you supporting your shoulders and your back and your bum. Feel yourself opening to the side and supported. Many of us these days feel that we have to do everything ourselves, that we have to take on all the burdens ourselves. But it's not weak to ask for support when you need it. And it feels really good sometimes to feel supported. It allows you to really be yourself and fulfill your needs. So in yoga or in life, never feel cautious about asking for the help or the support that you need. When you're ready, step back into a warrior two and step into your Tadasana. You can move your chair away now. We won't need it for the rest of class. And here I'm just going to ask you to start shaking. We did a lot of exploring and being sensitive in our bodies. Just shake it out, starting with maybe your right ankle, your foot, your calf, your knee, shaking that out, getting into your hip, your glutes, and then maybe your left ankle, your toes, shaking that out, your knee, getting into your left hip, and then maybe both hips, shaking it out, letting your spine shake out, your hands, your wrists, your fingers, your elbows, your shoulders, and your whole torso, maybe your head and your neck a little bit gently, and then just shake your whole body a little bit. You're at home, no one cares, just let it go and shake it out of it. And then come to stillness just for a moment. Take note of what you feel in your body. Take note of how you're standing right now to support yourself. And then stepping back again towards the wall. Find your Tadasana with your back body supported by the wall. Bring your weight into your left leg. And we'll take a tree pose here. Any variation that you like. Your toes can be on the earth with your heel to your ankle. You can have your foot against your left shin. You can bring it all the way up to your knee. You can have the foot on the block. Wherever you feel good today. You can bring your hands to your hips, to your heart, out above. Just find a place that feels good, that feels stable, and see with your back body supported by the wall, see what it feels like to explore closing your eyes in tree. Feeling your left foot rooting into the earth. Feeling your back body supported by the wall. Noticing which parts of your body touch the wall, touch the earth. Coming back to the anchor you chose at the beginning of class. The breath, the sounds around you, or your contact with the world. Notice what it feels like to be held and supported in this position. When you're ready, gently blink your eyes open if they were closed. Let it go and come back into your Tadasana. And one last time, come back into traditional Tadasana. Your big toes together, your feet, the edges of your feet parallel and your heels apart. And again, notice if you don't lean against the wall and you close your eyes here, how do you feel? And then come back into your Tadasana. And without leaning against the wall, if you close your eyes here, how do you feel? When you're ready, adjust yourself so that your back body is in contact with the wall. Bring the weight into your right foot. Bring your left foot into any form of tree pose. Toes as a kickstand with your left ankle, your left heel on your right ankle, with your left foot on your right calf, with your left foot on your left thigh, your arms on your hips, on your heart, up above you. Just play around with what feels good on this side. And if you want to, explore closing your eyes in this position. Feeling your right foot rooting into the earth. And accepting support from the wall behind you. Accepting the support to feel safe enough to explore how you really feel in this moment. Bringing your attention to touch, the breath, or the sounds around you, to anchor you right here, right now. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and let that go, coming one last time into your Tadasana. From here, you can find your way to your backs on the earth. If you still have the chair nearby, you can use that to help you get down if you'd like. And make sure that your pillows or your bolster are nearby for this next part. Go ahead and bend your knees and take a look at your feet. Bring them into the position that you had them in your Tadasana. And then slowly lower yourself down onto your back. Keep your feet in that position, but just open them as wide as the mat and let your knees fall from one side to the other. Just windshield wipering them gently back and forth. When you get to one side, just let them rest there. If it feels good, you can look in the opposite direction. And then bring them back through center and let them fall off to the other side. And again, you can let your head fall in either direction that feels good to you here. When you're ready, bring your knees back up through center. Bring them back together in your version of Tadasana. Your hands alongside you. And just gently on an inhale, lift your hips, coming into a rolling bridge. As you exhale, let them gently come back down. And again, inhale, lifting your hips. Exhale, letting them float back down. And one more time, inhale, lifting your hips gently. And this time, hold it at the top and use your bolster or pillow to come under your hips and just let it support you. Coming into a supported version of bridge with the bolster carrying the weight of your pelvis. Your hands can be out to the side, they can be in a T, can be up overhead. Just notice what feels good to you. And then explore if straightening one leg a little bit and the other. If it feels good to get them a little straighter, if you can walk them out slowly. If it feels good, you can stretch them out all the way. You can keep them bent. Whatever your body is telling you feels right for you today. Tuning into what you need and accepting support from the bolsters to meet your own needs right now. Come back to your anchor. And just notice your body right here, right now. When you're ready, you can gently, slowly walk your feet back in. Press into them enough to move the bolster out from under your hips. And come into any comfortable recline position for Shavasana. You can keep the bolster there and put it under your knees. You can keep your knees bent. You can put pillows behind your back and roll towards one side. Any comfortable resting position. Take a moment to find some way to make yourself just 10% more comfortable here. And when you're ready, let yourself come to stillness. And let go of your thoughts, your breath, everything that's swirling around, and just know in this moment you're safe, you're loved, and the world is a richer place because you are in it exactly how you are today. If you're using sound to anchor yourself, today you might notice Doug chewing on the box, just off camera, shredding the cardboard, his favorite thing to do. I invite you to stay in your Shavasana for more time, if you have it, and let your body integrate and absorb the movements that we did today. When you do decide to come out of Shavasana, I encourage you to do so slowly and gently, rolling through one side, coming up to a seat, and finding a moment to thank yourself and appreciate this time that you've given yourself today to explore your needs, to explore what your body needs today, and to offer it that, and to make adjustments and ask for support when you need it. I hope that as you go forward today and for the rest of your week and your daily life, you can continue to put those practices into play, taking a moment to anchor yourself, noticing what you really need today at that moment, and finding a way to meet that need. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.